All right, we're here today at EP Tom Sawyer State Park in Louisville, Kentucky. This is formerly the grounds of the Central State Insane Asylum of Louisville, Kentucky. Before that, it was a private farm, and the family that owned the farm used this cave here as a spring house. There is a spring of water coming out here, right there, and they improved it. And by improved it, I mean that they put these bricks up in front of the cave, and they channeled this water into a trough so they could easily access clean water at any time. And this is where they would store their cold products, or products that need to be kept cold. This is in the days before refrigeration. There are a lot of rumors. When I was a kid, I'd hear them that they would store bodies in here. When this was the insane asylum, there was a hospital here. They'd use it as a morgue, and none of that is true, but it makes for some good ghost stories and scary tales when you're a youngster. So it's not a very big cave. It doesn't go very far, but let's go on in here and check it out and see what it has to offer. So initially, as I stated, this was a spring house, and the water from the cave comes out here, and it goes into these little holes here, and these go underground out through the woods into a creek. And at one time this area was called Lakeland, and there were several lakes back here through the woods, and over the years the dams have failed that held those lakes in, and it's kind of restored itself back to a natural creek, and that's where this spring water eventually ends up, is going into the creek. Now there's a smaller cave here, entrance right here, and let's look in there real quick. Oh, you can see the brickwork. This was all done in the late 1800s, and it's still here. So this area here was bricked up sometime after Central State Hospital bought this property. At the time it's called Lakeland Asylum, but that term kind of fell by the wayside. Anyway, this has bars, and you'll see them on the inside. That's what originally was here. It just kept any cattle or animals from getting into here, or people too, I guess. But as it fell out of use as a spring house and a storage area, the asylum just bricked it over. So let's look in here. You can see in here there's some improvement. You can see there's some curbing type work in here, but that's all. They never use this to store anything in mass. It's not very tall. Floor to ceiling in here is maybe 3 feet. And I don't know if I can get enough light back in there to get a picture, but there's some curbing in the back part of there as well. It's like a limestone cut curb, but that's all that it is. This part of the cave is not very useful. It's just too short. I suppose when there was no wall here on the outside, you could probably put a few things in here, but you wouldn't go very far back. You'd be crawling on your hands and knees. So let's go on back into the original part of the cave, or the large part of the cave, which is right here. So at one time, this was shaped as a rectangle, and there was a doorway here, and there's a metal door over the front of this. And if you look on the ground here, it's been pretty well covered with mud now, but there's a wire cage door. A lot of it's under the mud here now, but that door was the access door to this cave, and it kept people or animals out. Now there's a foundation there, and a foundation there made of brick, and those go back to this back corner here. There's another corner there, and it goes here along the side of that channel where the water comes out of this cave and back outside. And at one time this was bricked from the floor up to the ceiling. And this was its own little storage area. And this was it. It was a rectangular shaped improved room. It had a wood floor, and all that's gone now. And the trough over here where the water ran through is still here. That's an improved trough. You can see the bricks. And then when I was outside, I said there were bars, and there they are. That's what covered this opening here where the water was coming through and they could get fresh water. There's a bat. He's hibernating for the winter. Let's walk back to this corner. There's a lot of junk in here. Old block, like fire block. All this was left over from the hospital. It was just here for storage. It's not being used or going to be used now. The hospital's gone. The buildings are gone. And now kids just kind of come in here and use it for whatever, stepping stones through the water when they're exploring. You can see where they took from the limestone and went down and bricked all the way to the bottom of the floor. There's brick, mud, brick, limestone, just to improve the whole place. And then it goes back here, and we're not going to go back here today, but it goes back here through this tunnel here and goes back about another 50 feet before you can't walk anymore. And through there is this improved channel that's brick lined on both sides, and it's kind of shaped like a square. And that's it. It goes back to natural, just a cave, and eventually it gets small enough that you can't fit through there anymore. And that's it. You hear a lot of stories about the cave being haunted, and there's a lot of ghosts. I've been in here many times and never seen anything unusual. But it's fun to come in here and look. There's some cut limestone instead of brick. I don't know what the purpose of that was. I guess erosion control maybe. I don't know. It's just all speculation at this point. But I bet you when it was new and completed for the family that lived here, it was probably a pretty nice improvement for them because they didn't have any refrigeration, and year-round it kept things pretty cold, and they always had cold, fresh water. This water flows year-round about the same rate. No matter how much rain we have or how little rain we have, the water always flows at the same rate in here. So it's a great natural spring. So there's the outside. And that's really all there is to it. No great mystery here. But it's a fun little place to come to, and good place for kids to come and poke their head in and explore and dream a little bit about what lies inside. Hope you enjoyed the tour.